We've all heard it. Think positive. Look on the bright side. Good vibes only. But let's be honest, when life feels overwhelming, these phrases can feel hollow, even annoying. And yet, deep down, we wonder, could there be something more to this? Could your thoughts, subtle, silent, invisible, actually shape your reality? What if optimism isn't just naive hope, but a powerful biological tool? In this video, we're not chasing cliches. We're diving deep into the science, the psychology, and the ancient wisdom to understand how positive thinking can literally rewire your brain, strengthen your body, and shift the trajectory of your life. This isn't about ignoring pain. It's about learning how to respond to life with clarity, resilience, and hope. Let's begin. First, let's define it, because positive thinking isn't about fake smiles or ignoring reality. True optimism is not blindness. It's seeing clearly and choosing to respond constructively. It's rooted in hope, but guided by realism. Dr. Martin Seligman, father of positive psychology, defines optimism as the belief that setbacks are temporary, specific, and not entirely your fault. In other words, you can learn to interpret life in a way that empowers you instead of crushing you. And that interpretation starts in the brain. Here's where science gets fascinating. Studies using fMRI scans show that when you engage in positive thinking, specific neural networks activate, especially in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. When you visualize a better outcome, your brain doesn't just imagine it, it starts preparing for it. Dopamine, the motivation chemical, is released. Serotonin, the mood stabilizer, increases. Cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases. In short, optimism isn't fluff, it's neurochemistry. And the more you practice it, the stronger those neural pathways become, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. Your brain can literally be trained to lean toward hope. But it's not just mental. Positive thinking impacts your entire body. A study at Johns Hopkins found that people with a positive outlook were 13% less likely to suffer from heart disease. Optimists tend to sleep better, have lower blood pressure, and recover faster from illness or surgery. They even live longer, on average, 11 to 15% longer than pessimists. Why? Because when your mind believes life is manageable, your body enters a state of safety, not survival. You digest better, you breathe deeper, you heal faster. Optimism, in a very real sense, becomes medicine. Here's the loop you live in every day. Thought, emotion, behavior, outcome, belief, new thought. Imagine you wake up thinking, today's going to be hard. That triggers stress. You behave defensively. Your day becomes tense. Now imagine you think, whatever happens today, I'll figure it out. Your brain relaxes. You respond calmly. Your day flows better. Same day, different lens. This isn't magic. It's the cognitive feedback loop in action. Change your thought, and you influence your reality. Repeat it consistently, and you change your identity. Here's the plot twist. Your brain doesn't want you to be happy. It wants you to be safe. That's why it clings to fear, doubt, and worst-case scenarios. This is the negativity bias, an evolutionary mechanism that helped our ancestors survive. If you missed the tiger once, you were done. So the brain evolved to prioritize danger, not delight. That's why good news fades quickly, but bad news lingers. Why one cruel comment can ruin your day, but 10 compliments barely register. But in the modern world, this bias becomes a burden. The good news? Awareness is the antidote. Once you notice the bias, you can begin to retrain it. Let's talk strategy. One of the most powerful tools in positive psychology is reframing. It's not about denying pain, but finding new meaning in it. Instead of, I failed, say, I'm learning something important. Instead of, this always happens to me, say, this is temporary and I have options. Instead of why me, ask what can this teach me? Reframing changes your narrative, and your narrative shapes your identity. Even ancient Stoics practiced this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Obstacles become opportunities when your mind allows them to. Actionable strategies to cultivate optimism. Ready to apply this? Here are 5 science-backed habits to train your mind toward positivity. 1. Gratitude journaling. Write 3 things you're grateful for every night. This rewires your brain to focus on what's working. 2. Visualization. Spend 5 minutes daily imagining a successful version of your future. Feel it, embody it. Your brain will begin to believe it. 3. Reframing practice. Catch negative thoughts and reframe them into neutral or empowering ones. Ask, is this the only way to see this? 4. Acts of kindness. Do one small intentional kind act daily. Helping others boosts your own serotonin and dopamine. 5. Limit negative inputs. Curate your environment. Reduce exposure to toxic news, draining people, and digital overload. Your mental diet shapes your mental health. The spiritual side of optimism. Beyond science, there's a deeper layer. Across cultures and philosophies, hope and faith have always been sacred tools. Buddhism speaks of right thought as a path to enlightenment. The Bhagavad Gita encourages equanimity in pleasure and pain. Not blind hope, but grounded optimism. Even in the darkest night, these traditions whisper the same truth. Your perception creates your reality. Faith, not in a deity, but in life itself, can transform how you move through this world. Sometimes believing there's a way forward creates the way forward. Let's be clear, positive thinking is not about toxic positivity. It doesn't mean plastering a smile over heartbreak. It doesn't mean ignoring injustice, grief, or failure. Real optimism says, this is hard, and I believe I can face it. It invites you to feel everything and still choose hope. Pain is part of life, but suffering is often how we interpret pain. With the right mindset, even pain can be purposeful. In the end, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them, the author, the editor. And the story you write will become your experience of life. So what will you choose? A narrative of defeat or one of possibility? A mind that reacts or a mind that responds? The science is clear. Your thoughts have power, but more importantly, you have power over your thoughts. And that changes everything. So the next time your mind says, this is hopeless, pause, breathe, and ask, what else could be true? In that moment, you are reshaping your brain, your biology, your future, not by force, but by intention. Because optimism isn't just a mindset, it's a revolution. Thank you for watching. This is Thinxile, where deep thinking meets practical wisdom.